With the onset of winter, British General Charles Lord Cornwallis had planned to return to London to see his ailing wife. But following the shocking defeat at Trenton, his leave was canceled. On New Year's Day, 1777, Cornwallis left New York and rode 50 miles to Princeton, New Jersey. The next day, with 5,500 British regulars, he marched out to crush Washington. When he arrived that night, General Cornwallis learned that the Americans were camped with their backs to the Delaware and that the river had become impassable. He pointed toward Washington's camp just half a mile away and said, "We've got the old fox safe now. We'll go over and bag him in the morning." Through the night, the glow of American campfires assured Cornwallis that his quarry was still trapped. But the fires were a decoy. At 1 in the morning, the rebels had muffled their wagon wheels with rags and slipped away. The next morning, January 3rd, 1777, just outside Princeton, a British regiment marching to join Cornwallis was surprised by the vanguard of Washington's army coming out of the woods. After firing only a few volleys, the rebels turned and fled, panicked by the sight of British bayonets. Heedless of his own safety, George Washington charged directly into the fray to reform his men, just 30 paces from the British guns. When the smoke cleared, Washington was still in his saddle, and the men heard him shout, "Parade with us, my brave fellows. The day is ours." Within 45 minutes, the rebels had driven the British from the field and captured Princeton. In just 1 week, Washington's bold winter victories in Trenton and Princeton turned the tide of the war and transformed George Washington into a legend.
If there are spots on his character, they are like spots on the sun, only discernible by the magnifying powers of a telescope. Had he lived in the days of idolatry, he would have been worshipped as a god. The Pennsylvania Journal.
There are two impacts from Washington's campaign of Trenton and Princeton. The first one is an immediate impact, which is morale. It bounces straight up. Here's an army that supposedly was down for the count, coming back off the canvas like Rocky and knocking the champ out. Obviously, everybody's going to feel good. But the more important significance for the Continental Army is the recovery of most of New Jersey as recruiting ground.
An Englishman visiting America reported on the rebels' newfound strength.
Volunteer companies are collecting in every county on the continent, and in a few months the rascals will be stronger than ever. Even the parsons, some of them have turned out as volunteers. Damn them all.